Hello and welcome to Sideways. Well, this week I can't tell you anything about the episode that we've recorded because we haven't recorded it yet. It's Wednesday today, and we still haven't managed to tie down a time to get together. Martin keeps blowing me out, and I think he wants to talk about social thinning this week, so perhaps he's trying to socially thin me by making a plan and then dropping out at the last minute under some pretense that he's working late, helping people at their lowest ebb. Anyway, I thought I'd record this introduction on in the vain hope that we might at some point actually sit down and talk. But whatever, it's a beautiful morning, a bit misty. It's going to be another scorcher today. April in the UK. Everybody's waxing lyrical about how lovely the weather is. But I must admit, it makes me slightly nervous when we've got temperatures of 27 degrees in April. But anyway, that's probably another story and best left to people who know more about climate change than I do. So I'll leave you with that bit of wittering. Social thinning. Okay, how you doing?
Well, I'm all right, apart from the fact it's the middle of the night.
Oh, well, it's 6:30. That is late for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. I'm running low on my batteries by this stage in the day.
I know, it is. You know, I've done a full day at work and it's tricky, isn't it, mate?
Yeah. Well, at least we made it this evening instead of you blowing me out again like you have been doing relentlessly recently.
What, like you did Monday, you mean?
Did I do that Monday?
Yeah. I was already, we'd arranged to do it Monday, and then you suddenly said, "Oh no, I've got dinner along the road."
I forgot. House. I forgot about that.
Forgot. There we go. So yeah, before you start getting all nasty about it, you got a little bit closer to home.
Well, you blew me out last night with some ridiculous excuse about having to work late. I mean, that's a bit like the dog ate my homework.
Well, not really, because I would prefer to have done it, because the closer it gets, because this needs to go out tomorrow, doesn't it? And it gives you very little time to do any editing, does it?
Exactly. So won't be able to do any editing. So don't say fuck or bugger, because I won't have time to take it out.
You won't be able to get rid of it.
Exactly.
No, well, my notes are not too long on this, really.
I'm very pleased to hear that, because I haven't had my dinner yet.
No, well, I just rushed something very quickly just because I was feeling a bit weak.
What did you have?
Well, I just had a quick sandwich.
Oh, what was in it?
A cheese and pickle.
Okay, yeah, that's reasonable. Branston?
Yes, it was. I think it was, yes.
Yeah. I don't like that, but it is certainly an acceptable sandwich choice, isn't it?
It is. I need to do it quick so I can get on and do this. So.
Yeah. Well, I won't hold you up any longer.
Thanks, mate. No, or you. If you want to get on with your cooking or whatever you do. What I was going to talk about is social thinning.
Right, yeah.
Now, this was a phrase that came up at a training session I was on recently.
Yeah, I'd never heard of it.
No, and it intrigued me enough to explore it further. Because I've done this before, haven't I? The last time I heard a phrase at a training session, we did an episode together on facial leakage, didn't we?
Exactly. Was it in the same training session?
No, different, completely different. But this one, I thought, I've got to look at that a bit further, because it didn't really go into it. It was mentioned, and that was it. But it's we looked at it. It's relevant to those with addiction issues and can be a major factor in the condition progressing. So it fits our modus operandi.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay. Excellent. Yeah. Excellent. Pleased to hear it.
But before we get into the meat of it, I've mentioned this before, I think on the last podcast, actually, one of the Facebook pages that I follow, the grim crimes and unfortunate events of historic Maidstone.
That very, very niche Facebook page, yeah.
Yes, I've used it before, but there's one that came up about local news on this day, the 20th of April, 1858.
Yeah.
So a little bit of time ago now.
Yeah.
It was, what happened? Well, I'll read it out what it says. A curious accident
it befell the son of Mr. Nurse.
Oh, Mr. Nurse.
Mr. Nurse, yeah, strange name, isn't it?
Yeah.
Of Mill Street. And we know Mill Street.
Oh, I know Mill Street, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's where they're at. The recovery hub is in Maidstone. So
Yeah.
it's even more relevant. So on Friday, the 16th of April, 1858, so the son of Mr. Nurse, doesn't give him his name, that's just he's just known as the son of Mr. Nurse.
Yeah.
Whilst carrying a window sash upon his head.
Yeah. On his head?
On his head.
Okay, well, that's mysterious for a start, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it is really, but he stumbled.
Yeah.
And the tip of his nose was nearly cut off when his head passed through one of the panes of glass. So he must have been walking along with it balanced on his head and bosh, and it went.
Oh, so hang on. So he was carrying both the windows and the sash then?
Yeah, with the actual panes of glass in.
Oh, my Lord.
I know, it's asking for trouble, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, health and safety these days would not stand for that, would they?
No, they wouldn't. I think
they'd be all over it.
They would. Yeah, so they lacked a little back in the 1850s.
Yeah,
I didn't worry about it so much.
Standards, honestly.
It is, but on being taken to the infirmary, his nose was repaired by the house surgeon, Mr. Kendall. He gets a mention. The bloke who gets his nose cut off, Mr. Kendall does, who said that the lad was in a fair way of completely recovering the use of his olfactory organ, which I love that little phrase.
Yeah, because we've talked in the past, haven't we, about olfactory recall?
We have.
Yeah, when you smell when you smell creosote up the path to the heath, it makes you think of your childhood, doesn't it?
It is exactly that. And the smell of beer makes me feel quite ill.
And young Master Nurse, he'd have been robbed of that, wouldn't he?
He would have done, but apart from Mr. Kendall intervened, sorted it right out.
Good old Mr. Kendall. Yeah.
Hero.
Do you think Mr. Nurse's wife might have been a nurse? That would have been quite good, wouldn't it?
Well, that would have been nice, wouldn't it?
Nurse.
Nurse.
You sound like you're really desperate for her, but actually you're just calling her by name.
but yeah, it's nice. People with two names like that, it's always a bit worrying, though, isn't it?
Like Neville.
Neville, yeah.
I can't think of any others.
Butros Ghali.
Oh, yeah. Robert Robinson. That's not quite the same, but...
Yeah, but anyway, I thought that was quite a nice little story and a salutary lesson. Don't carry window frames on your head with the glass still in. Yeah, over bumpy ground.
Absolutely right. Yeah, especially if they're sash windows.
Especially if they're sash windows. We've all learned something today, haven't we?
Yeah. I broke a sash window in the house once by trying to hit a fly with a supplement from the Sunday Times.
Straight through the glass.
Yeah, so that's something you shouldn't try either.
No, you shouldn't attempt that.
Yeah.
Although I was flapping about earlier on because I had a bee come into my car.
Oh, into your car. Oh, that's a nasty moment.
Well, it is, but it was just as I was leaving work, and we've got beehives.
Yeah.
And the bees were going a bit crazy. They'd been moved or something, and that's one of the. There'd been a swarm basically, and they were angry. They were stinging. We had a couple of residents got stung, a couple of staff got stung. So when
a couple of residents got stung, that'd be enough usually to get down the offie, wouldn't it?
Well, exactly that. We had to take great care. They were complaining about the angry bees.
That's it. I've been stung. I'm having a large cider.
Well, what happened? I pulled up to the gate and just opened my window to push. There's a little green button that opens the gate.
Yeah.
And 3 bees flew.
3?
Right? Yeah. And as I was blowing them out, using breath, trying to blow them out. And there was more coming in because I was next to a load of angry ones. So I managed to get the window back up with just one inside, opened the other window, and eventually I got him out. But I was flapping like mad, mate.
So you didn't get stung then? I'd like to have seen that. It's not on CCTV or anything, is it?
I don't know. You can see me. That's what I needed, a Sunday Times supplement.
Yeah, you don't want to go flapping at bees, though, because they're in short supply.
They are in short. They're now honeybees, but they're just angry at the minute. So you don't want to get stung.
Maybe those 3 were trying to make a break for it. They were, they'd had enough of living where they were. They wanted to start their own hive. Do you think that's how bees start new hives? They sort of make a breakaway and...
You reckon? The drones, they rebel eventually, don't they?
It might be, mightn't it? They might have thought, come on, we can do this on our own, can't we?
Don't like being called drones.
Exactly.
We're going to go be something else.
Yeah, then realise they haven't got a queen and they're right up shit creek without a paddle.
Anyway, we've got a little bit off track.
Yeah.
But also, there's another thing I quite like to look at, which was on the streets of New York. They've been putting up these giant posters, which are scratch and sniff.
Oh yeah.
But they're of giant armpits, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, quite. But apparently, you can scratch them, and it gives off the scent of a new fragrance being sold by a company there.
Oh, okay.
So I thought what they should have had a before and after, shouldn't they? Have a horrible sweaty one and then a nice deodorized one.
Well, what they should, I think, if I'd have been in charge of that marketing campaign, what I would have done would I would have introduced a little bit of jeopardy into it. I'd have said some are going to smell of BO, and the others are going to smell of this nice fragrance, and you take pot luck. You could
have them dotted round New York.
Exactly.
Bit like Pokemon Go, wouldn't it? Armpit Go. Go and collect them. See which ones smell bad and which ones are fragrance.
Yeah, because you could have different fragrances, and then some absolute filth that nobody wants to smell. I like that idea. I think that could catch on.
I think you're right. Right, they missed a trick, didn't they? Basically.
Yeah, I think so. People just don't think creatively enough these days.
They don't. They need you in charge of that one, don't they? Really?
Yeah, I think my marketing days are behind me. To be fair.
Yeah. But they're still,
and we can all see why, can't we?
They still sound strong to me, mate. if a little obscure. Anyway, I'm going to get on to social thinning.
Yeah.
Because what it refers to is the gradual decline or weakening of social support networks. But it's often linked to childhood adversity and its impact on the brain's ability at that point to build and maintain relationships.
Yeah.
So this concept suggests that experiences like abuse or neglect can alter the brain systems, making it harder for individuals to form and sustain positive social connections later in life.
Which perhaps then might make a fall into addiction more likely.
That's where it leads. It's a predisposition towards it. Yeah, not predetermination, obviously, but a predisposition makes it much more likely that that's going to happen. So I just looked at the sort of more details about it and looked at the adverse childhood experiences that tended to lead to people to experience social thinning.
Okay.
And it was the childhood experiences that came up most with things like abuse, neglect, household dysfunction, which obviously can be.
Yeah. So it's essentially what it's saying is that it would those sorts of experiences would impact your attachment style and might make you wary of entering relationships or fearful of relationships ending, and therefore you might keep yourself away from them in an effort to keep yourself emotionally safe. Yeah.
Exactly that, and it's particularly in areas related to like threat and reward and memory. The brain changes in those areas, and what that impacts upon social relationships.
Yeah,
because the corollary of that is that the brain changes can affect an individual's ability to. There's just several little bullet points here: learn and respond to social cues.
Yeah.
Develop and maintain relationships, which I think is the main one here, really. Navigate social interactions effectively.
Yeah.
This is all the impact of this. And seek and experience positive social reinforcement.
Yeah. These things also apply to developmental disorders like autism or.
Yeah, and that's what struck me when I was going through people that potentially have got all of these symptoms that comes from another area as well. But it's the social thinning aspect of it that was linked to childhood stuff, which I thought was quite interesting.
Yeah.
But apparently individuals with a history of maltreatment may be more prone to sort of stress generation in social situations. Do you get that? Do you get stress generation in social situations?
I don't like social situations, but I don't think that's due to any sort of childhood neglect. I think it's more developmental for me. But I've certainly seen lots of evidence of those sorts of things that you're talking about in terms of. It's interesting though, thinking about it in terms of social thinning. I've seen it very much in terms of people who have difficulty in developing sustained intimate relationships.
Yeah.
But you're talking really here about the impact that it might have generally on the size of one's social support network.
Yeah, I am very much so. Because that stress generation, it exacerbates the decline in social support. And so yes, you can if you're not able to maintain any sort of relationships, and I've come across people all the time like this.
So as you get older, you've got fewer and fewer people around you, essentially.
Yeah. With age that comes, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's certainly true of me. I've got no friends.
You don't want any though, do you? Either you're quite happy with that. You're a very unfriendly person. That's your problem. You've gone through friendly thinning over the years, haven't you?
Yeah, when you told me you were working late last night and you couldn't do the podcast, I thought that was an effort at social thinning.
It was really, wasn't it?
I thought I was being thinned. Of course, I could have done with a bit of thinning when I was younger, when I was at school, because I was a bit of a Pillsbury doughboy in those days. But that's not really the thinning you're referring to, is it?
You went body thinning, really, from that stage on, didn't you?
Exactly, yeah.
Down to the svelte person.
Inadvertently, really.
Yeah.
Which I suppose is, in some respects, how social thinning operates, because you're talking about something that is really happening unconsciously, aren't you? This is not something, this is not people thinking, oh, I don't really want to be in relationships, I don't really need a lot of friends around me. It's the impact of experiences or traumatic events that they've had in their younger years, and the way that then influences their ability to make and sustain relationships.
Yeah, exactly. You hit the nail on the head.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, good. Well, so
if there's a nail to be hit on the head, I'll be doing my best to do just that.
You would do. But you don't want Mr. Nurse's son anywhere near, because it's going to go wrong, isn't it? So what was I was looking at there's a word I want to use, right, that I've never used before.
Oh, great.
Because I was looking at the neurocognitive factors. Neurocognitive, I've used that one before. But, this little sentence, it says the neurocognitive sequelae of maltreatment.
Wow.
Sequelae. I love that word. Sequelae, which means like a condition that is a consequence of a previous condition. So something comes out of something else.
Oh, so it's sequential.
It's sequential, yeah. But I thought
nice.
The neurocognitive sequelae of maltreatment, including changes in threat, reward, and memory systems, can play a significant role in both stress generations and social thinning. So yes, so that was where these neurocognitive factors lead to the overall concept of social thinning.
Very good. I can't get sequelae out of my head now.
I love that word, don't you?
Yeah, I very much enjoy the etymology of words.
Yeah. Etymology is a good word on its own.
It is quite a good word. But I find sometimes it can be a bit of a nuisance, because I find that if I'm, say, driving in the car and I'm listening to something, a conversation, interview or something on the radio, and someone will use a word, and if it's a word that I find interesting, I'll disappear wondering, in my own head, wondering about the origin of it, and then I've missed everything that I was listening to.
Yeah, you can tell.
So it's a bit of a double-edged sword, really.
Probably down to your neurodiverse condition that takes you off in that area.
Yeah,
it can be difficult to concentrate once you fixate on that.
Yeah,
that's true. But I was saying to someone the other day that if I come across a word like this one that I didn't know the meaning of, I always look it up.
Yeah, well, you should do, shouldn't you?
You should do.
Do you think people still have dictionaries these days?
Well, no, I just Google it. That's easiest, isn't it? Your job done, isn't it?
Yeah, but I suppose I'm, thinking about that sort of the process of being you, because when we were younger, obviously we couldn't Google a word, could we? If you wanted to understand a word, you'd go to the dictionary and you'd look it up in the dictionary. And I sometimes think to myself, well, that discipline that we had, probably still would cause you to try and find the meaning of a word if you didn't know it. But whether young people do that nowadays, I don't know.
I don't know. Be interesting if anyone can let us know. But
I don't suppose we've got any young listeners, do you?
No, probably got most of them are still using dictionaries. It is because I remember saying that to someone. I was having this conversation with someone the other day, and they said, "Well, no, I never really. I just sort of let it go."
Oh no!
Yeah,
I can't do that.
And I had the same conversation. This was many years ago with someone, and he said, "Oh, I'll never come across words I don't know." I thought, "Well, you arrogant sod."
What?
Yeah, I know.
Nobody. That's rubbish. Who was it? Dr. Johnson?
Oh, no, I don't know. I socially thinned him after that.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Oh, no.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I don't know how you could have the flipping brass neck to say I never come across. Well, unless, of course, you're reading very simplistic books and magazines. I mean, if you're reading Tip and Mitten and Tiger and Scorcher, I suppose it's possible. But
yeah, that's true. It could be the other way, couldn't it? He's just got a very small vocabulary.
There's not much growth in that, is there?
No,
I mean,
there's not
it's pretty unpleasant.
Yeah,
anyway,
it is.
Yeah.
So that's it, really. But I was just looking at the last little bit was just the implications for mental health. How social thinning then affects your mental health after that. Because social thinning, it can contribute to an impoverished social environment, obviously.
Yeah.
Potentially increasing the risk of mental health problems, which again can lead on to a sequelae of that it can be addiction.
Yes, I suppose part of the problem with that is that if you have a very small support network, if you do hit the buffers, if you think something is wrong, you really haven't got that many places to go, have you?
No.
That for most people, one of the great advantages or benefits of having people around you that you can rely on is that you can do just that when things are difficult. But the more you isolate yourself, the fewer opportunities you have to do that, and therefore it almost becomes kind of self-perpetuating.
It does. I mean, if social thinning can lead to addiction issues, the irony is that addiction leads to social thinning
Exactly.
on its own.
Correct. Yeah.
Because we know most people with advanced addiction issues end up being totally isolated. A, because people can't put up with their behaviour, but B, because that's what they want.
I suppose, yeah. I mean, that certainly happens, doesn't it? You certainly did that, didn't you? You made yourself socially svelte, didn't you?
Socially visible, yeah. Or see-through, actually.
But so yes, I'm sure it certainly does happen that way. But I suppose thinking about it from the other perspective, if there are very few people in your life anyway, then your kind of progress, your descent into addiction is probably kind of easier, isn't it? You know, who's noticing? Who do you have to really worry about? I mean, it sounds as if in that area, in the area of dependence, then not having people around you is pretty, puts you at some risk, both as a cause and a symptom.
Exactly that. And briefly, I looked at how this problem was become bigger during the period of COVID and lockdown and that sort of thing. And we were all socially thinned, weren't we, at that stage?
Yeah, and that had
forced.
Yeah, and it had very distinct impacts on people. Some people thrived in it, like me, because I'm quite happy for there not to be people around. But I'm working. Funny enough, it's interesting that because I'm now working with people increasingly, actually, who are either still experiencing the impact of being cut off from people, or actually in some cases are just beginning to experience it. It's like that sort of whole 2 years or whatever it was where they were disconnected from people that they relied on to keep them kind of well and happy. It seems in many cases to have had quite a significant but quite delayed impact on people. I've certainly never come across that. So it's interesting if it's happening more and more often. Well, I think what I've noticed happening is that people might hit some sort of emotional difficulty. And when you're kind of tracking back and trying to find out the foundations of it, you tend to go back there. That seems to be the place that people often go. They are almost, you've used this phrase before with regard to drink. Sometimes people can kind of white knuckle it for a certain period of time, but then you get to the point where you actually have to deal with the impact of that thing that happened. And I think, for some people, they're they're only just beginning with the significant impact that they had through being separated from their support network for such a long time through COVID.
Yeah, because we know with that enforced social thinning, we saw addiction rates spike, relapses spiked, and new conditions coming on under the radar.
Exactly. There's nothing to do except eat strong. There's nothing to do except drink strong lager, was there?
It seemed to fill those long, lonely hours of isolation. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean that's when people are sort of they don't have that opportunity to interact with other people in their offices or their places of work every day. I mean that is a massive shift for people, isn't it?
Mm. Yeah, it is. Yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to just to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Just a little sentence here. In essence, social thinning is the process where the network of social support dwindles over time, often as a result of early adversity, and its impact on brain development and social functioning. So that's where social thinning. That's the crux of it.
There we are. So if you didn't know anything about social thinning, consider yourself enlightened.
Look it up. Google it.
Yeah, and go and tell all your friends if you've got any.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and don't try and find new ones though, just to tell them that, because this is not a way to make friends, is it? Talking about social thinning.
And anyway, that's cheating.
It is cheating.
Yeah,
it is cheating. But that's it's quite a short one, really, this week.
Well, that's good because it's getting late, isn't it now? I mean, it's virtually dark.
Yeah, it's coming out. So I'm just going to come on to really your conundrum feature.
Okay, I've found an appropriate one. I picked this one out when I was having a wee just before we started the call.
Okay.
Is that too much information?
It is, but I'm happy with it.
Okay. I don't think I've used this one before, but you'll have to tell me if I have because, I can't remember. Here's the situation. You've outgrown a friendship. Do you owe your pal a friendship breakup, or is it okay to ghost them?
With a friend? Yeah, no, we haven't had this before.
Yeah.
So
you've outgrown a friendship. So should you tell your friend, listen, this is not, I'm not really engaging in this anymore. There's not really anything. I don't think there's anything here for us anymore. Should you just, leave it?
Yeah, just leave it. I mean, it's not as if you're going through a relationship, right? You haven't got to sit down and sort out who's going to get the dog, are you? It's
no. But just to play devil's advocate, then. So what if you're the friend who thought everything was kind of fine, and you wonder why you don't hear you wonder why you don't hear from me anymore?
Yeah.
Imagine this: you do a podcast with someone one evening, and then you never hear from them again. And you think, well, what? Hang on, what happened there then?
Oh yeah, I can understand that if it's a sort of a close friendship.
Well, I didn't say it wasn't a close friendship, did I? I said you've outgrown a friendship.
Outgrown it. I think by the fact that you've gone through an outgrowing process, it's not an overnight thing. You've outgrown. I think it just gradually dwindles away. I've got friends I haven't seen for a long time.
Yeah,
I didn't sit them down and say, look, to be honest, mate. It just
so it sounds like you would regard that whole kind of process as a little bit awkward and a bit unnecessary.
It'd be unnecessary because I think friendships grow organically and grow apart organically.
Yeah. So there's no necessity to name it. It's like, well, we kind of both. Oh, okay, that's interesting because I've worked with quite a few people who feel who've experienced quite a lot of distress at feeling as if they're the only ones that ever make the running in a friendship.
Right. Okay.
And if they don't contact, I can hear people saying, if I don't call him or if I don't call her, I'd never hear from them. And you think to yourself, well, that's a very one-sided friendship. I wonder why you're still engaged in it. But I suppose that is the sort of friendship that this question is aimed at. It's like, well, something's gone wrong here, but someone's still kind of got skin in the game, but the other person seems to have buggered off. It can actually cause quite a lot of distress for people. And you're you're taking a very hard line attitude. You really don't care, do you?
No, not taking a hard line attitude. I think it's quite a soft attitude. I think it's just it doesn't need to be addressed. I think it's just nature taking its course. So
what about if you feel like you're in a very one-sided friendship? Do you think in those situations, it's right to say, listen, I feel like I'm the only one that ever makes any effort in this friendship. And I've got to the point now where I'm wondering whether there's any point in me carrying on because you don't seem that engaged. Would you still say, actually, that's still not necessary? Just step back from it. Don't bother about it.
Yeah. Yeah, step away.
I see you've got friends to burn, haven't you?
Well, I think I'm just trying to think of when it's happened. When I've, some friends perhaps you see more often than others.
Have you never had a friendship with anyone where you got to the point where you thought, crikey, I make all the flipping running here. I don't feel like bother anymore.
No.
Right.
No. But,
okay, well, that's the end of that then.
That's the end of that. I couldn't engage fully in that, but hopefully I've come up with some sort of an answer to your
question. Well, you've come up with a very clear answer. It's a bewilderingly straightforward one. Quite frankly.
Couldn't drag that out, but obviously I think you must have a different viewpoint on it, which is why you brought it up.
I don't have a particularly different viewpoint. I have, as I said, there have been many times where I've worked with people who've been quite bruised by the apparent disinterest of a friend. And perhaps in those situations, it would have been useful for the two of them to have had a conversation about it. Anyway.
Okay. Gratitude list.
Do you want to go first?
No, I can go first. On my gratitude list, I put down there that last weekend it was the first seaside trip of the year.
I thought that's probably what you were doing when you couldn't be bothered to do the podcast.
Yeah, well, I went down to Broadstairs with my recovery friends, a bunch of my recovery friends. So,
was it nice?
Yeah, it was. I mean, Broadstairs is lovely, isn't it? I mean, there's nothing to dislike about the place.
Yeah, I've got a photograph of me on a donkey with Ted Heath in the background. That was taken at Broadstairs.
That was Broadstairs. I remember you saying about the photograph. I didn't realise it at Broadstairs.
Yeah.
So you have fond memories, not only of Broadstairs, but of ex-prime ministers.
Well, I was very young, so I don't suppose I certainly don't remember it, and I don't suppose I was aware that a prime minister was walking behind me. Of course, he wasn't prime minister at that point because that would have been the late 60s. Right. But he would have been quite a prominent politician in those days. I think didn't he live in Broadstairs?
I don't know.
I don't think he'd come down with us for the day.
Did he not, with his little hamper sandwiches and shit? That was how he laughed. That's right. I think he was a dream for mimics, wasn't he?
He was a dream for Mike Yarwood, wasn't he?
Mike Yarwood, yeah. He used to like that.
It was one of Mark Yarwood's classics until good impressionists came along and made him look a bit rubbish.
But it was one of his go-tos. You're right. Quite easy to do.
Harold Wilson, Frank Spencer.
Yeah. Tommy Cooper. That was it.
Tommy Cooper.
His repertoire.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to go at the best-selling albums in the UK.
You can't because I haven't told you what my gratitude list.
Oh, sorry, mate. I just
blimey! It's a wonder you have got any friends. Flipping shutting me out. Won't let me talk about things I'm grateful for.
I was just disinterested. It's all about me, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm grateful. I tried to decide what to put on my list. It came down to two in the end. I'm quite grateful that because we've had a very dry spring, there are very many fewer slugs and snails around my crops. If you remember, last year at this time, I was already beginning to get despondent at everything being eaten. Well, it's not happened so far, so I'm quite pleased about that. But I think on balance, I'm probably more grateful for last night looking for something in my freezer and finding a tub of rum and raisin ice cream that I didn't know I had.
Oh, that's a touch.
Yeah, that's like, when I told my daughter, she said that's like finding a £10 note you didn't know you had in your jeans. And I said, no, it's better than that. I mean, it's rum and raisin ice cream, isn't it?
Yeah.
Rum and raisin ice cream, I think, would be the only one that would always have made my top three. Of course, would you be able to eat rum and raisin?
I was just going to say that I avoid it now, I must admit, but I did used to like it. I'm sure
even though there obviously there isn't alcohol in rum and raisin ice cream, not the stuff you buy in the shops, but just the association.
It is. Well, I could smell it with my olfactory organ. I could smell the rum essence. No, it is the taste of it. It's got a definite rum taste, isn't it?
It has, yeah. It's like you wouldn't. I mean, I quite often drink a pint of water out of a pint glass, a beer glass, but you wouldn't do that either, would you?
No. I got rid of all those glasses.
Yeah.
But it's strange because at Broadstairs at the weekend, I had an ice cream.
What from what they call Morelli's or whatever they're called?
No, it wasn't Morelli's. It's Chiappini's along the.
That's it.
Yeah, there was a Morelli's there as well.
Oh, is there? All right. Yeah.
And I looked along there because there's all sorts of different choices, obviously, and one of them was rum and raisin. I looked at it, and thought, it does look nice.
Got to be, isn't it?
Yeah, but I didn't go for that, obviously.
No.
I went for banoffee in the end, actually.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Really nice.
No. What, you had a single cone?
Single
You
cone.
didn't have a double?
No, I didn't want to be greedy.
What? When you go to one of those posh ice cream places, you've got to at least have a double, haven't you?
Well, someone bought it for me, and I felt that it would be.
Oh, okay,
yeah, you know.
Yeah. You don't want to take the Mickey, do you?
You don't. No, I was very grateful. I could have put that. I was very grateful for someone buying me a banoffee ice cream.
Yeah. I wouldn't be at all grateful for anyone buying me banoffee anything.
Oh, lovely.
Disgusting.
So yeah, good. But
right. Yeah, let's move on then. Come on.
Best-selling albums of the year.
Yep.
In the UK. Mm-hmm. So we've got 73, 83, and 93. Okay.
73. Okay. Are you going to give me a clue?
I am going to give you a clue. Mm-hmm. It was a megastar, a big UK superstar in his own right.
Is it Gary Glitter?
Wasn't Gary Glitter, no, thankfully.
A megastar, early 70s, just a man on his own. Did he have a band?
He did have a band, but he's known for his solo stuff. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
What sort of genre are we talking?
Glam rock initially.
Alvin Stardust.
No, he was less popular. He became he had two different coloured eyes. How about that? I can't drag this out any further.
Blimey, I don't even know who that would be. Actually, that is ringing a bell, but I'm not sure who that is.
One blue one brown one.
Was it David Bowie?
It was David Bowie.
Yeah.
So do you remember, I don't know how much you know about his early works.
I don't really. Was it
name of one of his albums?
Was it Aladdin Sane?
It was. Good choice. Good one. Straight in, mate.
Great.
So 1973, David Bowie, Aladdin Sane, best-selling album.
Well done, me.
1983, so 10 years later, another megastar, an American one here, but a worldwide megastar.
Okay.
With one of the biggest selling albums of all time.
Oh, right. Okay. What genre?
Well, it's sort of pop, really, I would say. But he was come up in sort of Motowny sort of thing, early doors.
Lionel Richie?
No, bigger than that.
Bigger than Lionel?
Biggest superstar ever, really.
Well, Elvis?
No. But I think he married his daughter at one point. Did that happen? I can't remember now.
I'm going to kick myself. I know when you tell me who this is.
He's part of a Big Brother band. His brother's in the band as well, initially.
Oh, blimey. I don't know. Who is it?
Michael Jackson. I mean,
Michael Jackson. Oh, for goodness sake. Well, I've blocked him out of my head now because he's obviously been a bit cancelled, hasn't he?
He has gone a bit cancelled in many ways. But so his album in 1983, the biggest.
It must have been. Was it Thriller?
It was Thriller, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's quite bad that I couldn't think of Michael Jackson, isn't it?
I was dragging you ever closer. But
there'll be people screring at their podcast, right? They're saying, "Come on, Graham, wake up,
get yourself together, son."
Yeah. Exactly.
So 1993.
Yep.
Single guy. For an American chap, a larger framed chap.
Larger? Oh, was it Meatloaf?
It was Meatloaf.
Was it Meatloaf?
It was Meatloaf, yeah. So he had the best-selling album, but probably not the one you're thinking of.
No, it's not. It wouldn't be Bat Out of Hell because that would have been 79, I would have thought.
77, Bat Out of Hell.
Okay. It's quite a long name, isn't it?
No.
Oh, it's not quite a long name, is it? It's quite a short name, isn't it? This one. I'm not going to know this, I don't think.
No, you won't. Well, it's Bat Out of Hell 2.
Oh, shut up.
Yeah, that was the best-selling. Which the irony of that was Bat Out of Hell 2, which, as you may remember, it was a pretty poor sequel. It never reached anywhere near the heights of the first.
Why would you ever make a sequel to Bat Out of Hell, which must be one of the best-selling albums of all time, isn't it? I mean, it was in the charts for about 15 years, wasn't
it? But the year that it sold most was in 1977 when it was released, Bat Out of Hell, the original Bat Out of Hell.
Yeah.
But it sold less than ABBA Arrival, so it didn't come into the best-selling chart.
Oh, wow. But then if you took its sales year on year, year after year after year, I bet it would be right up there, wouldn't it?
Probably right, yeah. I suspect in 94 and 95 it was still knocking on the door.
Yeah, I expect it probably outsold Bat Out of Hell too. No, it wouldn't have done in 93, because did you say it was the best-selling album of the year? Yeah,
it was in 93. Yeah. But
I've never heard Bat Out of Hell 2, and I've got to be honest with you, I have no interest in doing so.
Yeah, I think I've probably got the CD.
Have you?
Yeah.
Is it under M or L?
Oh no, it'd be under M.
Mr. Loaf, or do you refer to him as Meat?
Meaty, the lad Meat.
Mr. Loaf or Meaty.
Right, so just in those seasons then, who do you reckon won the league in 72-73, 82-83 and 92-93? So that was the...
72 Leeds.
No.
Manchester City.
No.
Manchester United.
No.
Liverpool, Newcastle.
Yeah, Liverpool, yes.
Okay, great, yeah.
They won it in 72-73 season.
All right.
82-83?
Liverpool,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And 92-93.
Manchester United.
It was the first Premier League. Yeah.
Wow. I've absolutely slayed that one, haven't I?
You caned the footy stuff.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, it's not difficult, is it? Early 80s, early 90s. It's pretty likely it's going to be Liverpool and Manchester United.
It's becoming like very samey now, anyway, like it is now.
It is, yeah. Well, that's good. So I'm going to go and have some tea now.
Good, mate. Yes.
I don't know what I'm going to have, but I'm going to have a look in the fridge.
Yeah, see what you can find.
See what winks at me.
Yeah. Just the fridge, not the deep freeze.
No, I know I've got a bit of rum and raisin in there. I don't know if I've mentioned that, but
you have. You still got some left. You didn't quaff it.
Are you someone who could do a whole tub of ice cream?
No.
I mean, people say that, don't they? They say, "Oh, I ate a whole tub." I think, how can you do that? Wouldn't you feel sick? Surely, wouldn't you?
You're forcing it back. You're not getting the enjoyment, are you? At that stage?
No. If you're doing that whilst you're listening to this,
don't.
Just stop it, will you? It's not good for you.
That's advice from the lad Landy.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Laters. Bye. Sideways was created by Graham Landy and Martin Pankhurst. If you want to read more about our work or sort through the extensive archive of past episodes, just visit grahamlandywellbeing.co.uk/sideways-podcast. You can follow us on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram at Sideways Podcast, and you can email us if you have a question or if there's something you'd like us to cover. But most of all, we want to tell you how grateful we are that you come and listen, and we ask that if you've enjoyed what you've heard, that you spread the word. And we'll see you next week.